All right, already. Yeah, perfect. Then I would like to welcome everyone who's joining our today's webinar on the topic do's and don'ts with frying oil, specifically for the Middle Eastern region. We are very happy about your participation and to show you today some of the tips and tricks all around the topic of frying, and of course also how we can take best care of our frying process with the VITO oil filtration system. I'd like to introduce myself first. My name is Lorena. I'm part of the VITO export team, mainly taking care of the Middle Eastern and Asian region and assisting our customers and partners there. And I'd like to hand over to my colleague Zina for a short introduction as well.
Perfect. Thank you, Lorena. Also, welcome everybody from my side. Very happy that you're all of us joining today for this webinar. My name is Zina. I'm also part of the export team. So Lorena and myself work on the same team. I'm mainly taking care of our partners in the remaining regions. Europe and North America are the remaining ones. And thank you very much for joining. And we look forward to a good and hopefully informative webinar for you.
Thank you, Zina. I'd like to guide you a little bit through our agenda for today. We will give you a quick introduction as a background on the VITO company. We will talk about what exactly is frying, where does it come from. Of course, we will look more into detail into frying oil and its influences, which is also very important, optimal rules of frying, and show you as well VITO as a solution in order to improve the usage of our frying oil and of course also its performance. And we will end our meeting with the Q&A part. So if there are any questions coming up, please write them into the Q&A F&A section that you can see below in our meeting, and we will answer them by the end. Very good. So let me explain a little bit more into detail what our company is doing. The company is called VITO. It is based, or the headquarters are based in Tuttlingen, which is in the south of Germany, very close to Switzerland. The company was founded in 2001 and grew to a company now with 4 international subsidiaries in close to Cologne, in Hürth, in Chicago, in Italy, and also in Dubai, where we try to best serve all of our customers in the surrounding regions as well. We are specialized in frying oil management. We do not only offer the VITO as a filtration system, but also frying oil testers that we will take a closer look on later. We're the global market leader in portable oil filtration, and we have a very unique system with the VITO that is not existent on the market as it is. It is a very unique patented system that we continuously improve. Our target customers, we can say our target group are all the restaurants and kitchens where you have deep fryers available. We have different sizes and models, but yeah, those companies all come from the hospitality and manufacturing industry. We distribute the products in over 150 countries globally and have more than 50,000 happy customers that use the VITO products daily in the most demanding operations. And now let's take a closer look on what exactly is frying. So the frying process is a healthy cooking method if we use it correctly. If we do it correctly in fresh, clean oil, it is a very established preparation for food, exists for a very long time. It happens in the most different parts of the world, and therefore also the origin is unknown for us. Frying oil itself is a food item. It can have different qualities, appearances. We have different types of frying oil, but what all have in common, all types of oil, is that they cause a permanent cost. Right now, we can say the average of oil cost is €3.20 per liter, but of course, this varies on a global range. In each country, it is a different average cost, but globally, we can definitely see the development that the frying oil prices are constantly rising right now. The quality also influences the taste and the quality of the fried food at the end. And frying oil ages for different reasons. And we will look into that and on the factors that affect this aging later on. And now, as a part of our webinar, we want to give you an overview on optimal rules of frying. And here I would like to hand over to Zina.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Lorena. Now that we already learned a little bit about frying oil, the frying process and where it's coming from, we prepared here 12 rules that help you to maintain your oil as good as possible by simple tricks in the kitchen to follow. And on top of that, we're offering the VITO solution to maintain the oil for even longer in your fryers. If you take good care of the oil with each and every one of those points, we'll be able to save around 1% of your oil cost. If you sum that up to 12, that's already quite a bit that you can just save by working in a clean and appropriate way around the fryers. Starting off with the first point, heat up your oil correctly, then bring it to frying temperature, test it with the FT440 or the VITO oil tester. We recommend that you don't heat up the oil in one step from room temperature to frying temperature of 175 degrees Celsius, but that you put a step in the middle. Heat up the oil when you're opening the restaurant to 100 or 120 degrees Celsius. Once you start actually using the fryer, heat it up all the way to 175 degrees. This will help the oil to not burn in a very quick way, but to have this step in the middle to slow down that wake up process, we could describe it, or that heating up process. So it's not harming the oil as much as if you would bring it to full temperature in one go. The testers, we will speak about them in one of the next slides, help you to measure the oil quality. Based on the measurement with the tester, you'll be able to tell if the oil is still in a good stage or if it's already time to change the oil in the night or already in the morning when you initially test the oil. Point number 2, shake off any ice and any crumbs from products that you're planning to fry. Of course, what's not in the fryer cannot burn, doesn't harm the oil. So shake anything unnecessarily off that you don't want in the fryer, like crumbs and water from ice that's around the product. Number 3, avoid to season products before frying. That's on the one side a topic you don't want additional crumbs, additional seasoning in the fryer, but this could also possibly influence the taste and also the outcome of the fried food. Point number 4, top up and keep oil level between min and max markings. Every fryer, wok, pot, whichever container you're using for frying, it's not only limited to fryers, has those minimum and maximum markings. The reason why is on gas as well as on electric fryers, the heaters or the burners in the fryer are made for a certain amount of oil, certain amount of liters of oil. If now we have too little oil in the fryer below minimum, the amount of oil is too little for the heat that the fryer is producing, which means the oil overall gets too hot when you turn the fryer on to frying temperature, which means it's burning faster. On the contrary, if we're overfilling the fryer over the maximum level, we have too much oil for the power of the heaters, of the burners in the fryer, which means that big amount of oil does not reach the intended frying temperature, even though you're turning the fryer to the correct temperature. That's why leave the oil level between min and max. This is what these markings are made for. Point number 5, for best results, use separate fryers for different sorts of products. A customer who's frying fries, chicken, fish, if you have this amount of fryers, use separate fryers for separate products to avoid taste transfer, but also to make the oil last longer. As you probably all know or can imagine, the oil of fries lasts longer than the oil of fish, for example. So we're trying not to mix up to make all oils last shorter, but for example, the oil of the fries as long as possible, just to give an example. Point number 6, don't overload your frying basket, ratio 1 to 10. The recommendation here of the ratio means 1 unit of fried product on 10 units of frying oil. The reason why goes into a very similar direction, like point number 4 with the min and max level. If you put too much product onto a small amount of oil, the temperature in the fryer will drop too much and you're not getting the intended food quality in the end out of the fryer because it's not heated up correctly, but going down too much, especially if the products you're frying are frozen products, then this influence can be even bigger. Point number 7, skim regularly with a hand sieve that you can put next to the fryer. Skim anything off, any crumbs that are swimming on top of the surface in the fryer. This helps on the one side to have a clean looking fryer, but of course also these particles don't burn any longer in the fryer and they also don't have the chance to stick to your fried product. So skim them off if you have a chance during the day on a regular basis. And point number 8, never season your products above the fryer. The recommendation here is avoid putting any additional crumbs, any additional seasoning into the oil that could possibly burn in there. The recommendation rather is prepare a bowl next to the fryer with the seasoning that you want to put on your fried product. Once you finish frying, put your product into the bowl, season it there, and then you're ready to serve it. Continuing with Lorena.
Thank you, Zina. Our ninth point is to turn down or to decrease the temperature during the downtime of the deep fryer, not below 120 degrees, but turn it down from operation and the temperature where you prepare your fried food. Of course, one of the biggest influences on the frying oil that we will also see later is the temperature that is harming the lifetime of the oil. So therefore, it is very useful to turn the temperature a little bit down and to not let the oil burn all the time, even if the fryers are not in use. Another topic is, of course, also filtration. Filter your oil daily. And on this point, we don't only mean the skimmer, as Zina was mentioning before, that is only scratching the big particles of the surface. We mean a very fine microfiltration, a deep clean of the frying oil that you can only achieve or best achieve with the VITO oil filtration system. Very easy to use, to implement, and that really takes out all the microparticles that are impossible to achieve by a sieve that we can also use for the big crumbs. Another point is to cover our fryers in order to keep the oil fresh. There are also further influences that affect the oil quality, such as light, dust, but we'll talk on the next slide more into depth about it. And our last point is also document your frying behavior to meet HACCP requirements to have a cost overview. So what we recommend is definitely to keep the operation, the usage of our oil transparent, to document it in order to meet our quality standards, and also for us economically to check the usage of our frying oil. And now on the next slide, we can take a look what are the main influences that affect the aging process, that cause the aging process of the frying oil. The main two influences we can see on the left and on the right side. On the left side, these are the particles, all the fried products that we prepare during the day that lose crumbs, and those crumbs burn inside the frying oil. They harm the quality, they cause a bitter taste, and at the end you can even see them on the fried products. So this is one of the main influences on the quality of our oil. On the right side, as mentioned before, it is also the frying oil temperature. So what we recommend is an optimal frying oil temperature in order to prepare our food is 170 to 175 degrees. As we can see on this picture, this is our recommendation in order to prepare our food very well and also fast, but on the other hand, to also not harm our oil quality unnecessarily. Other influences are also water, therefore make sure to shake off all the ice and all the crumbs of on our products that we are going to fry. It is also oxygen, dust and light, and therefore the recommendation to cover the deep fryers once they're not in use. Perfect. And now we can continue on the next slide to show VITO as a solution. And here I would like to hand over to Zina.
Perfect. To target those influences that Lorena was mentioning, we're offering a full solution with frying oil filtration and frying oil testing. To get started on the left side, we have 2 frying oil testers that measure the oil quality. So that's the quality measurement part of the VITO solution. Then we have 6 filtration systems in total, 3 portable ones that go directly into the fryer, 3 mobile ones with wheels on it. They're filtering the oil to make it last as long as possible and to maintain it at a good quality and also clean. And last but not least, to complete the VITO solution, we offer the boil out tabs. They're good for a deep clean boil out of the fryer every now and then to maintain the quality of the fryer in a good shape as well, since that's of course also influencing how does the oil behave in the fryer and what kind of product are you able to cook in your fryers. We will be starting now with the explanation of the frying oil testers. We really like the statement big, small device, big impact, because it's really a very small tester, a handheld tester to check the oil quality. We have 2 different options. On the left side, we have the black and yellow FT440 tester, and on the right side, we have the white VITO oil tester. The design is a bit different, one from the other. They do the same thing. They check the oil quality as well as the temperature in the oil. Depending on the quality, on the FT440, a light comes up at the top. On the white VITO oil tester, a light comes up in the display, as you can see here in the example, in a color which changes from green to yellow to red, like a traffic light system. As long as the testers show us green and yellow, the oil is good. As soon as it changes to red, it's time to change the oil. So that's the alarm that the tester gives us. This helps us, of course, by not changing the oil too early or too late, and to also have a good food quality that we're getting out of our fryer. So we're not using exhausted oil to produce our products. On the right side, we would like to show you a diagram that we have prepared where you see the 3 stages of oil. New fresh oil, where you get quite pale product out of the fryer, then the optimal frying oil range, which is the biggest part in the middle, that green and yellow range that we want to keep being in as long as somehow possible. And then once it oversteps that red limit, we're in the part where the oil is exhausted, that you can see on the fries, on the chicken, on any other product that you may be cooking. You can see that, you can smell that, you can taste that as well. And this is the time when it's really time to change the oil. So the benefit, as I said, with the frying oil testers, we have a good oil usage, efficient oil usage. The oil is not changed too early or too late. Everybody in the kitchen changes the oil at the same point in time, either based on the color or based on the numbers. We maintain a good quality of the fried products, a consistent quality as well. We're always changing the oil at the same point in time. And that, of course, gives us consistency in the menu and in the fried product. Good visibility due to the traffic light system, green, yellow, red. Everybody can see that and decide according to those colors when it's time to change the oil. We have an easy measurement of multiple fryers, not only easy, also fast. Per fryer, the measurement takes no longer than 20 to maximum 30 seconds if it takes a bit longer. And you can move from fryer to fryer. So you can test multiple fryers one after the other. An additional benefit is you're not only testing one fryer after the other, but you can also document the quality numbers fryer by fryer to have, like Lorena mentioned during the optimal rules of frying, a transparent overview and exactly knowing how does your oil consumption develop, and you can compare that with your turnover or the amount of fried food that you had during a certain business season. And all common frying oils used for frying can be measured with the tester without any exception. So yeah, it's a very universal product, small device with a very big impact for all businesses that are using frying oil or fryers. Moving on to Lorena to speak about the filtration topic.
Perfect. You already gave us a very good introduction and a good overview on how we can check when it is the right time to change our oil, which is now also very relevant for the VITO oil filtration system. First of all, a big benefit of it is that we can really fit it into all types of deep fryers or bakery pans. As you can see on the image below, it's available in different sizes. We have the VITO 30, VITO 50, and VITO VL that we can recommend you based on your specific operation and also the volume of your deep fryer. So how many liters does it have? Main benefit, and which is really important, especially nowadays with the rising oil prices for our customers, are the savings of up to 50% of frying oil that we can achieve with the VITO. We extend the lifetime of the oil, we double it, and like this, we can save a huge amount of our frying oil cost, of course. And on top, we continuously filter out all the particles that burn inside the oil that harm the quality. And like this, we can ensure the consistency of our quality and the quality of our fried products that we serve to our customers. We can see below that we do not only have portable units, the VITO 3050 VL, but also mobile units, our VITO X series, that is also available in different sizes. And we'll now take a deeper look into both models on the following slides. So how can we use our portable VITO machines? This is a very easy usage. We simply place the VITO directly inside the deep fryer. Recommended is to use it in the evening after using the fryer, and big benefit is we can use it in hot oil. So at service temperature, we have no waiting down to let the oil cool down. We can use it right away. We turn the VITO on. It only takes 4.5 minutes to filter the whole deep fryer and the whole oil inside. Works automatically and needs no supervision. And after the filtration, we simply take it out and place it inside the drip tray that is coming together with the machine for installation and storage in the kitchen. So it is a very fast system, very easy to use, works automatically, and does its job on its own. On the right hand, we can also see that we can open the machine in order to clean it, and that we can simply put it inside our dishwasher. That saves us lots of labor and of course also lots of time. Perfect. Now we can see what the VITO is doing inside the deep fryer. We call it the VITO effect because this is the unique way how the machine is working. The machine creates a circulation inside the deep fryer, in the frying oil, and like this we can make sure to suck in all the oil, even the particles that are sitting on the bottom, at the bottom of the deep fryer. We can make sure to lift them up. They get sucked inside the machine and get filtered through very high pressure out in front of the machine. And this process is repeated multiple times, and this causes at the end the microfiltration that we can guarantee with the VITO. The paper filter sits right inside the lower part of the VITO, inside the filter box. It's made of cellulose and can filter up particles of 5 microns, which is 1/10 of a human hair, so extremely fine. And this is the big benefit of the VITO functioning. Now, this was the portable machine. We also have the mobile systems. Of course, if we take a look on both units, we can say that they both have their unique benefits. The mobile systems are mainly used in catering companies or bakeries, where the customers often wish for a possibility to transport their oil or also to store it. It works with an external tank. So on the left side, you can see the application. We suck the hot oil inside the tank. It does its filtration, and we simply pump it back. It works with the vacuum filtration. The particles stay on top of the unit. There's again the very fine filter paper, and this process is only happening once, and we pump it back. So again, very fast. The result on the right side are the particles on top of the unit. And here we can also see different sizes, different models. The one that you can see in our picture here is the VITO XM with the tank volume of 75 liters. We have a smaller unit with a tank volume of 40 liters and the biggest one with a tank volume of 120 liters. And now again, based on the customer's operation, on the size of the deep fries, we can recommend the right unit.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Lorena, for that. I will be taking over now to speak a bit from what Lorena already mentioned about microfiltration that applies to the portable units. We already heard 1/10 of a human hair, but that of course also applies to the mobile VITO systems. We prepared here a diagram for you, which looks quite complicated, but we're trying to simplify it as much as possible. On the horizontal axis, we see the time. That's the time frame that we can use our oil for. And on the vertical axis, we see the impurity, the amount of particles, and the way the oil is breaking down. In the middle, pretty much at 50% of the line, we have a violet line drawn in, which is called limit. This is when the oil tester that we explained earlier shows us that red alarm, hey, it's time to change the oil. So this is when the oil is exhausted. This is when it's time to exchange it out of the fryer. Now, if we have the scenario of non-filtration, possibly also non-following the optimal rules of frying, we have particles building up linearly all the way up in the fryer. That's that first line that goes straight up in the diagram, which is called particles without VITO. We're cooking, more and more and more particles build up in the fryer. Since there is no filtration happening, it keeps going up. The particles that fall in the oil over time, since we're heating up the fryers, turning them down, heating them up again day by day, the oil breaks down quite quickly because those particles are burning in the fryer. This results in that red curve that we see across the entire diagram, that round, more or less round shape, also marked in red, which is called here chemical breakdown without VITO. Goes quite quick. What's important for us is that point where that red curve meets with the violet line, the limit. This is when it's time to change the oil. If we go down in time, let's say these are 2 or 3 days, no more than that, this is when the oil is exhausted. This is when we have to change it, and that's it. Nothing else to do about it. Now, if we introduce filtration with VITO, if we follow the optimal rules of frying, the picture looks a bit different. We're looking to the bottom of the diagram now into that zigzag line, particles with VITO in green, it's called. How do we come up with a zigzag line here? Looks quite different than compared to no filtration. When we're cooking, particles fall into the oil, they're possibly burning. The top we're filtering, particles go down. Then we're cooking again, particles go up. We're filtering, particles go down. Cooking again, particles rise. Filtration, particles go down. This is how we come up with this shape of a zigzag line. Particles come and go pretty much. What happens when we're regularly filtering out the particles? We prevent them from burning in the oil. And as Lorena explained during the influences, the particles are one of the top main influences why the oil is getting bad. Now, if we're targeting that particular point and removing the particles every single day in high volume operation, maybe even after a busy lunch and after a busy dinner, then we have much more leverage, much more opportunity to keep the oil for longer in that optimal frying oil range. So the oil will break down, but it will break down much slower. So we have the control to slow down that breakdown process through VITO, through the optimal rules of frying. So the chemical breakdown with VITO results in also a curve, which is the green one below the red one, a bit more. And you see it's going slower than the red one. It's not going bad as quickly. It's still going bad, but way slower. So consequently, the meeting point, I would call it, of the violet limit with the chemical breakdown with VITO is later in time. So if we compare those two meeting points of chemical breakdown without VITO with the limit and chemical breakdown with VITO with the limit, we see there is a quite big gap, and these are the additional days that we're able to use the oil through filtration, through following the optimal rules of frying. In our particular example, we may be able to extend the oil here from 2 or 3 days of filtration to 4, 5, 6 days. So that's the savings that we're achieving. These are the 50% frying oil cost savings that Lorena was mentioning earlier when she was introducing VITO. Applies for the portable VITOs as well as for the mobile VITO, since they're targeting the same big crumbs as well as the fine particles in the fryer. To make that 1/10 of a human hair a bit more visible for you, we put two pictures on the right side. At the bottom, we see a filter paper of VITO that's covered with very fine particles caught out of the fryer. The VITO filter is down to 5 microns, which is very, very fine. In comparison, we have here a hand sieve. It's a hand filtration, a manual filtration that you're holding under the fryer to drain the oil through it. That's filtering down to 150 microns, so mainly just filtering out the big crumbs that you even may be able to remove with a sieve from the surface of the fryer. But don't misunderstand, it's better than doing nothing to the oil. But of course, the finer you filter, the more life you can gain out of the oil, the more the financial aspect on that as well. Speaking of financials, we also have prepared a few facts and figures for you to show you how quickly the VITO actually is able to pay for itself in a real life example. We have here prepared a standard restaurant. The oil price, as we mentioned, globally is at around €3.20, $3.30, 40, depends a bit on the exchange as well. So on a long time high at the moment. An average restaurant may have 2 fryers with a capacity of 20 liters each. The oil is changed without filtration twice a week. That results in an oil consumption of 80 liters a week that this particular place is using, times 52 weeks of operation per year, including Christmas, including summer vacation, including holiday time as well. Open the full year to get a realistic example. We're at an oil consumption of over 4,100 liters per year. Times the oil price, we're reaching expenses of frying oil of over 13,000 euros, or respectively dollars, if you want to translate that as well. When we're claiming the VITO is saving up to 50% on frying oil cost, these are savings of over 6,600 euros, respectively dollars, per year. In that particular scenario, the VITO machine is paying for itself within 6 to 10 months, depending on the model. Afterwards, that's literally money in your pocket, plus you're still benefiting from the additional benefits of less labor around the fryers because less oil changes, more safety around the fryers as well, and a better and more consistent food quality to make sure your customers keep coming back in the end, a highly competitive market when you're offering fries, chicken, different fried products that other competitors may be also offering. So that, of course, also gives you a competitive advantage if your oil is clean and your oil management is profitable in a way. So far for that, to sum up our presentation, I'm handing over back to Lorena.
Great, thanks a lot. So now we would like to put the most important points again into a short summary. What we just learned is, of course, that what we can do with VITO and what we can achieve is to significantly increase the lifetime of our frying oil. So we are talking about up to 50% that is proven, and through global applications of all of our customers, we improve the quality and also the taste of our fried products at the end by regularly taking out the particles that burn inside, that affect the quality, the taste, the look of our products. It is very fast, easy, and safe when it comes to handling. The products are also manufactured in Germany, just to mention here. With the new VITO VL, which is our product innovation, we can even track the usage of our model. It sends us a report, for example, once a week, and we can see if the machine was used on a continuous basis daily, which is a very big benefit for especially if you have multiple stores and want to keep a good overview. The whole process of filtration takes approximately 5 minutes, which is super fast. It reduces our cleaning effort. The machine itself can be cleaned in the dishwasher, and the deep fryers only have to be the oil only has to be changed 50% of what we are doing right now. We can daily work with clean and filtered frying oil. On top, of course, our fryer will also be more clean, saves us labor time, disposal cost for all the oil, and a nice benefit that is also getting more important is the environment protection that we can achieve by reducing or by splitting our oil cost into half. And now we are getting to the end of our presentation, and now we would like to ask you if you have any questions left, if there's anything we can answer for you, please write your questions into the Q&A part that you can see below the comment section. Ask us anything and we'll be very happy to answer you.
Maybe one of the first questions to start off with, Lorena, I can read that out. How you compare yourself with existing filtration system like built-in fryers, I guess built-in filtration system. So difference comparison of built-in filtration system with VITO. That was a very quick question.
Yeah, but of course that's also a common a very common question that we face very often, and that is also easy. VITO is a filtration system that is unique in the way how it works. It is patented on the market, and what we can say is, I would say the major difference in comparison to existing filtration systems is, first of all, that VITO is an in-tank filtration system. We place it directly inside the filtration without the need to let the oil cool down, which is a huge benefit and also the difference. And on top, it's super fine, filters the oil multiple times, and therefore we can achieve those great results of up to 50% on savings. Sina, is there anything you would like to add here?
Yes, maybe in addition to what Lorena said, when it comes to we're filtering inside the fryer, we're also not just, I would say, in careful terms, not just draining the oil, like a built-in filtration system draining with gravity through a filter and then pumping it back in the fryer, but the VITO 30, 50 and VITO VL, which whose example we've shown during the presentation, are filtering with very high pressure. And this is how we're filtering that fine, and this is how the oil gets literally forced through the filter paper. The paper catches the particles, the clean oil comes out in the front. And as you may remember from the VITO effect that Lorena was explaining, we're not just filtering the oil once through a filter down and then back into the fryer, but the VITO filtration is a continuous filtration. So the VITO VL, for example, is suitable for fryers of 20, 25 liter capacity approximately. It's filtering 100 liters per minute. The filtration time is programmed to 4.5 minutes. So imagine what can be filtered with that filtration performance, with that filtration power in those 4.5 minutes. So the complete fryers gets filtered multiple times. You can do the math, but that's definitely more than 15 times that the complete oil is filtered. And this is how the big crumbs as well as the very fine particles get filtered out. I think another benefit here is a short filtration time, the 4.5 minutes. Plus, the fryer remains the whole duration of the filtration operational. Like Lorena said, no need to cool down the fryer. You keep it at service temperature. You can literally drop the VITO inside, filter. If you get an order from a customer and you need that fryer, you can stop the filtration at any time and take the VITO out. Compared to a built-in filtration system, the fryer is empty at some point, non-operational. The VITO does not interrupt your operation. It's perfect to include it into your day-to-day daily operation. And that's, I think, another big benefit as well. In terms of cost, the VITO certainly has its initial investment as well, not as high, by far not as high as a top brand fryer with a built-in filtration, but also on a premium range. Long term, when it comes to savings and when it comes to payback, as you saw, the VITO pays for itself in 6 to 10 months, depends a bit on the operation, on the customer, can also be 12 months in some cases. Built-in filtration or fryers with built-in filtration tend to have a significantly longer payback period than just 1 year, which is in today's terms a really, really short amount of time.
Yeah, perfect. Another question is, which product is your bestseller?
Our best-selling product is the VITO VL, which is the biggest portable VITO, the one with the with a yellow handle. I'm sorry, and the black and yellow touch panel. A big benefit on that particular machine, maybe also coming back to that built-in filtration topic, is it has a connect option, so you can connect the VITO VL to your cell phone, to your Wi-Fi in the restaurant as well, and you can track its usage. You can create reports out of this, and in that way, you have the perfect tool to guide the kitchen staff through filtration and to also have a control tool to make sure the filtration system is used every single day to really maintain the quality and to save the cost that VITO is claiming to save. That's the way.
Yeah. Also, maybe in addition to that, we can also see that the oil testing device is a very requested product at the moment. It is becoming more and more important to maintain and to document transparently the quality standards in the kitchen, and therefore also the oil tester faces a huge demand right now in different countries or globally. Is there any recurring cost after the initial purchase is another question.
Yes, there is. Very good question. The filter paper inside the VITO is changed on a regular basis. That's recurring costs. The next question is not here yet, but I guess it's one of the next very common questions. How often do you have to change the filter paper? It depends very, very much how dirty the fryers are, how many particles are in the fryers. On average, you get 6 to 12 filtrations out of one paper filter. A paper filter costs no more country by country than a cup of coffee. So that's the cost that you have with VITO, 2 to maximum 3 times a week normally, depending a bit on the fryer operation. So the recurring cost is there, yes, but it's pretty small compared to any other way of cleaning the fryers. Cup of coffee, like I said.
And also the savings on the other hand, of course.
Of course.
When is the perfect time to filter? When the oil is hot or when the oil is cold?
Definitely when the oil is hot, because then the oil is liquid and then the filtration is much more effective. The colder the oil gets, the harder the filtration, because it gets dense and then it's really hard for the VITO to suck it all up, like Lorena explained earlier in the VITO effect, really bring it up if it's heavy, if it's dense, pushing it through the paper filter, coming out at the front. So everything is very heavy for movement. I hope that's a good way of explaining it or of understanding it. Compared to if the oil is really hot, it's as liquid as water, then the filtration happens rapidly, fast, effective, getting all the particles out. So certainly when it's hot, we recommend that you filter directly after service. That's for most businesses in the evening after dinner service. If it's a very high operation, can also be after a busy lunch and then after a busy dinner again. Everything while the oil is hot, service temperature hot is fine for that.
Yeah, great.
I think there was one more question, Lorena, a bit about allergens from previous cookings. I think it's very important to understand when those types of questions are coming up. The VITO is focusing on particles that flow in the oil. Food particles, sediments, carbon particles that are falling in the oil. So that's all of the things that the VITO is filtering out. Depending what's causing allergies, yes, can be filtered out by that, or in some cases also maybe not. So the VITO is a filtration that's transparently filtering all the particles out of the oil. And this can have or cannot have an influence on allergens, on taste, on smell, etc.
Okay. Please, if there are any remaining questions, please write them into the Q&A part. Otherwise, we will also get in touch with all of you after the webinar. You will receive your certificate for the participation. We'll get in touch with you. And if there are any also specific questions for your operation, which model is the right size for me, we can discuss that also after the webinar.
Perfect. I think that was it for right now. Exactly what Lorena said. We would like to thank you for today's participation in the webinar. We hope it was helpful for you. In addition to following up, maybe also worth mentioning is we recorded today's session, so we will create a link that we will send over together with the certificate. So if you want to rewatch it once again in certain parts, if you want to share it with your team, you can of course do that. If you're interested, we'll also be happy to share the presentation, to rewatch it, to reread a couple of things as well. And yeah, thank you from our side and hope to see you at one of our upcoming webinars. Visit us on social media, on our website to not miss anything in regards to VITO.
Thank you very much also from my side, and I'm looking forward to hear from you then after the webinar.
Thank you very much, everyone, and have a nice
Have a nice
afternoon.
day.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Thank you.